we're trapping up in the and trapping network. You back in the same, like cracking this thing, man. We not even finna hold y'all. Adam is giving us his breaking news on why the feds ran up in this spot. Let's go.
Anyway, yesterday, I'm sitting around the house, starving myself all day. I actually have a newfound appreciation for fasting because I do feel like I achieved some sort of mental clarity while I didn't eat food for a day.
Chops to the munch.
But while I'm in my house, I'm playing poker on my computer, a guy comes to my front door, and I didn't actually even know, but my girl was communicating with him through the box in the front of our house with the camera. She texts me, she says, a dude is here from the FBI, and basically he's trying to serve you with a subpoena. And so she told him, like a ride or die would, she told him, Adam's not here, and he's off at work or whatever. I forget what she told him. And so I immediately hop on the line with my lawyer. I say, what should I do? I don't want to, handle this situation wrong. Over and over and over, I've sat down with rappers or whoever who tell me about situations in which they divulge too much information to the police or whoever, and it ended up coming back to bite them. Especially, something that comes to mind is like Hurricane Chris, who caught a body that was blatantly self-defense. Soon as the cops come, he airs out his whole situation and ends up coming back to haunt him because the state ends up trying him. So if he had not made all those statements to the cops right after he had killed this dude, then it for sure would have been a way easier case for him to beat. Now, that being said, I'm not really that worried because I know that I myself haven't been involved in any criminality, but I figured I would have my lawyer take care of it. So my lawyer reaches out to the guy who came to my door. She assures me that she's going to be able to ask the FBI agent a handful of questions, and from that information be able to ascertain, is Adam in trouble? Is Adam going to be, forced to hand over a crazy amount of information? Because that was kind of lingering around in my head is like, God, this is going to be a huge pain in the ass if they want to confiscate all the computers and everything in here. We're going to have to, buy a bunch of computers to use.
Where's the furnace? Start the furnace up, guys.
I don't know. I was considering that. I have not destroyed any information for the record. But this is the thing that my lawyer comes back to me with. She said the feds were interested in one thing and one thing only. Because in my head, I'm thinking they're going to want copies of the podcasts that Brick or Luce were on. They're going to want to make sure that there was.
I bet dollars to donuts they want a copy of that cease and desist with Big U and some kind of ties to Nipsey Hussle. I bet dollars to fucking donuts. And for those of y'all who know timing, this is live right now. I have no way of being able to watch this prior to.
And anything in those podcasts that was edited out. Now, anybody who knows me and No Jumper knows that we really don't like to edit things out. So the only stuff we're editing out is if it's like a 4-alarm fire, like, yo, we need to take this out. So I don't think there's ever been something that Break or Loose told us that they needed us to edit out. But the one thing that the feds wanted was the cease and desist.
I fucking said it. I fucking said it. WACK is working. I said it. WACK is working. I said it, bro. WACK is working.
From Big U to No Jumper, asking us to take down the episode in which Loose Cannon first made the explosive statements that suggested that Big U had previous knowledge of Nipsey Hussle's death. Now, that situation is very much outside of what was mentioned in the indictment. In the indictment, there's nothing about Nipsey. There's nothing about any of that stuff. So this, to me, is kind of massive because it makes me feel like, oh, the FBI is interested in what Big U's involvement in Nipsey's death might be, which, to me, seems gigantic. I don't know why.
This is crazy work. Sometimes to know everything is to know nothing, and to know nothing is to know everything. We're going to just let them do all the talking.
That cease and desist is not going to help them prosecute Brick Baby or Loose Cannon or anybody else. But the fact that they're interested in that, to me, adds quite a bit of credibility to the argument that perhaps Nipsey Hussle's death was a more complicated situation than it appears to be.
Well, isn't that when this
You gave it to him, though?
Isn't it?
We did hand it over, yeah.
Isn't it?
It's getting sticky. You handed it over to him? Yeah, we did. Dizam.
Isn't this when that that
was it?
I mean, really, like,
So it's safe to say you the feds.
I'm happy to help the feds with talking about a document that we have previously discussed on here over and over, and which doesn't, it doesn't implicate anybody that I know or whatever. And it's not like I know about Big U doing something illegal. Big U did something perfectly legal by sending over a document to us asking us to remove a piece of content. Now, for the record, it doesn't mean that this means that there's a full-scale investigation into Big U's involvement in this situation.
You don't feel like you played no part in them getting booked at all?
No,
like
not really.
with the shit they said up here and you clipping it up. I mean, I get you live and people might be able to screen record, but some of the shit these niggas is saying, you sit back, like even the feds probably like, I can't believe like these niggas is this dumb. Well, then you clip it up to reiterate what they said.
My attitude is basically if somebody comes on the podcast and they want to live their truth, they want to talk about the things that they've been through, then it's none of my business to dig through each podcast and figure out.
Shout out to the Viral Way podcast asking good questions.
What's criminal, what might come back to get them, because let's be real, this is hip hop where a huge percentage of people's lyrics, songs, etc., are basically putting them in the mix and acknowledging that they've been involved with crimes. And when I'm sitting there and Loose Cannon's saying, because keep in mind, this is my first time even understanding that Big U might have had any involvement in any street stuff still, when Loose Cannon's sitting there and saying, yeah, me and Big U went to this weed spot and we got all this money out of them, and then Big U didn't split the money up fairly and yada, yada. I'm sitting there thinking, Big U's on that? Like, I had no idea that Big U would have been doing anything that could be considered extortion or payments for checking in, whatever.
Not a guess.
In retrospect, I feel a little naive since he did call his podcast that, and he was talking about the checking in process pretty openly.
He talked about
it
like
Brick.
on the
At the end of the day, we see, we understand the bottom line is the money. So at the end of the day, like you just said, if they come on here and you ask them certain questions and they're dumb enough to speak on that, yeah, it's partly their fault, but you don't think the questions you ask are strategically bringing certain things up out of them?
Well, it's not like I could have even asked about that since I didn't know anything about that. They just started talking about
it. Who are y'all talking about?
No, look. See, I'm talking about Brick. Now, as far as guests that come on and willingly tell on themselves, that's 100% on them.
Okay.
I don't blame platforms for dumbasses coming on the internet where the police are watching every platform everywhere and telling on crimes they committed. They're idiots.
Understandable, but did you read Brick's indictment?
I'm not reading through none of that shit. Well, basically what I'm saying is, regardless of if anything he said on this show was in the indictment or not, some of the shit he said, if that's my boy, like if my brother was to say some shit like that, hey, bro, you got to stop talking about shit like that. Or I'm not even putting it up. Like, nigga, you just said some federal shit. I'm going to edit that shit out before we put the clip out. I'm not just going to be like, oh, fuck it, it is what it is. He dumb enough to do it if this is my boy. See, there's a difference
let me see how much longer they're going to
between this. I'm calling this.
I wanted to talk about the Big U, whatever, blah, 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 but he's making some good points.
My homie, my friend, like Adam calls Brick, or some idiot that just comes up here and wants to go viral. Yeah, I caught 11 hats. Okay, you stupid as fuck.
But I think part of it is the fact that, when Brick comes on here and says, I'm putting kill squads in the street, or I got more bodies than you got squabbles.
That's what I was getting. That was crazy.
Bro, he don't mean that shit.
Okay, yeah, so they not on that no more. They might get back to it. But we up out here to the next one, man. They said that Adam 22 got subpoenaed because the feds want to know about Big U's involvement in Nipsey Hussle's unalivement. Free Avenue Angel, please free.